as our topic, campus network information security. Uh, these are the group members. First, we need to identify our scope of our project. Uh, First of all, we need to identify what a campus network is, and then we need to go for why campus network security is important, and uh, to show viewers like how a campus network works. We need to identify different campus network models and their differences, and to give a real world experience about campus networks, we need to find out MNSU campus network layout and other campus layout, and we need to make comparisons between them. And after that, we need to go for security threats that a campus network can have, and after that, we need to identify possible countermeasures for them. And finally, we need to create and configure a campus network model using Cisco Packet Tracer to give viewers about how a campus network works. As I have mentioned, first we need to identify what a campus network is. A campus network is a network infrastructure which is used to deliver networking services to an organization, which is likely an educational institution or a high school, and at which are located at particular physical locations. As you can see in this diagram, uh, we can see like there are several physical locations which are connected in one network. So after that, we need to consider like we need to go for why campus network security is important. So there are many reasons that a campus network security is important to us, especially students who use different services in a campus network. So there can be huge traffic, and it can cause stability problems and may lead to vulnerabilities in a campus network. So as we have all seen, we have experienced some difficulties when we are using D2O and other websites related to a campus network. And this is where campus network security is more important. Network security, it promotes reliability of the network by preventing lagging and downtimes through continuous monitoring of any suspicious transaction that can sabotage the network. So that's why the network security is important in a campus network. So the network security, it helps to keep the functionality of the network continuous. As students and lecturers, they need to get the online services continuously. So for that, the campus network security is important. So let's talk about why organizations have campus networks. So in a time like this, we have a pandemic which is going in the world, and in these times, people often go for online services, and especially in educational institutions, lecturers, students, they use online services to for online educational purposes, and teachers use more digital technology as learning materials, and they use educational management tools and other websites which are connected to a campus network, and I need to talk about voice telephone networks, and they have been rapidly migrating to VoIP, known as voice over IP. I think it's an effective way of communication in a campus network. So we can configure these telephones and other devices in the campus network itself, and we don't need to have a need to have an outer network to operate these devices, and we can communicate through those devices using VoIP. So this is an example campus network design, which I designed using Cisco Packet Tracer. So the basic idea of this design is to give viewers about how a campus network works. So I have used here like so many routers and switches to control the redundancy of the network. So uh, the reason for that is there should be like many parts to communicate inside a campus network to keep the function of the network continuously. So when if a router or a switch goes down, there should be another path to communicate inside the network. So this is a screenshot that I have taken when showing how two devices connected in the network. So as you can see, these PCs are connecting to each other, and as you can see, there are replies from this PC to this PC. So when talking about the security side, I have used a VPN tunnel between these two routers, and I have set up a secret key address, as you can see in here. VPN tunnel often uses to hide IP addresses and the data which is exchanged in these through these routers. They are all encrypted. For the encryption purposes, that is why I included a secret key address. So, next, Tarun will describe about the architecture of campus networks.
Thank you, Sabumal. As Sabumal explained, for an organization, the most challenging and most important parts are planning and the design phases. It's where different technical variables and technologies needed to be considered. In this section, I will be talking about campus network architecture. Move on to the next slide. Structured engineering principles have different types of models. First one is hierarchical. It means it helps to understand the role of each device at every tier, and also simplifies deployment, operation, and management. In modularity allows seamless network expansion and integrated service. Resiliency fulfills user expectations to keep the network always on. Um, Flexibility, it allows intelligent traffic load sharing by using all other network resources. Let's move on to the next slide. So in phase three, architecture-wise, we only focused on hierarchical design models. It breaks the complex problems of network design into smaller and more manageable ones. And each layer of tier in the hierarchy is focused on specific set of roles. And this will help the network designer and the architect to optimize and select the right hardware, software, and the features to perform. As you see here, this hierarchical campus design has three layers: core layer, distribution layer, and the access layer. And these there is two proven hierarchical design architectures for campus networks. They are three-tier models and the two-tier models. Move on to my next slide. In here, the design models can be used in large campus networks. A three-tier model includes all three layers. Let's begin with the access layer. The access layer is the first tier or edge of the campus. It grants end devices access to the network. As shown in the figure, the access layer network generally incorporates a layer to switches and access points, providing connectivity between workstations and the servers. It is the first layer of the defense in the network security and architecture, and the first point of the negotiation between end devices and the infrastructure. The second layer is the distribution layer, which is the interface between the access layer and the core layer to provide many important functions. And it is the aggregation point of all access switches and act as an important member of the access distribution block. The distribution layer aggregates the data received from the access layer switches before it's transmitted to core layer for routing to its destination. The third layer is the core layer, also referred as the network backbone. The core layer consists of high-speed network devices, and the core aggregates the traffic from all the distribution devices and designed to switch packets as fast as possible. and it connects multiple campus components. As shown in the figure, core layer is the critical for interconnectivity between the distribution layer devices. In the modern business world, the core of the network must operate as a non-stop 24/7 days in a year. Keep it simple because reliability is the key in this layer. Let's move on to the next slide. It's about the two-tier model. This design is more suitable for small to medium-sized campus networks. In such a network, the core and the distribution functions can be combined into one layer called collapse core, also known as collapse core distribution architecture. A collapse core distribution architecture is when the distribution and the core layer functions are implemented by a single device. The primary reason for the collapse core design is reducing network cost while maintaining most of the benefits of the three-tier hierarchical models. Let's move on to the next slide. In this slide, I'm going to talk about some important functions you need if you're planning to build a network. First point is power. Definitely, in order to minimize the downtime and your network equipment prevent damage from lightning strikes, brownout, things like that, you definitely need a stable source of power. What it mean by that, like in network closet, make sure to add UPS power to protect your equipment. Example like backup generators. Cabling, basically in order to connect all the various network components, you need copper and fiber cable plants, and it also to be a structured cabling system. Cooling is definitely another important equipment. Cooling is needed to remove the heat to prevent equipment damages. Typically, cooling dealt with, if you're still installing a new network, basically you need the existing building ventilations or HVAC a lot, or you can use a dedicated cooling system to remove that heat. Equipment racking, whether that's going in your core network closets, basically, your distribution closets, networking equipment should be mounted in industry standard or two post racks. Equipments located in public spaces, and it should be secured in locking racks to prevent from tampering. Let's move on to the next slide. Network requirements. As you see here, the small campus provides services for 1 to 200 devices, and the medium-sized campus provides services to 200 to 1,000 devices, and the large campus provides services to more than 1,000 devices. Let's move on to the next slide, Sabah. For the MNSU layout, unfortunately, we were not able to find any information related to MSU campus network due to the security concerns, and ITS told us that they cannot provide us any campus security informations. Because of that reason, we had to adjust some changes of our scope also. Let's move on to the next slide, Sabah. This is the example of University of Michigan campus network architecture, and this architecture helps users to identify the campus speed, reliability, capacity, and handle the daily traffic that faculty and staff students require the high speed and bandwidth that campus researchers may need, and to connect on the campus across the global. So that's all I have in my section. I'm passing to Lovis discuss about the security.
There are several potential malicious actions or threat that may violate security constraint of campus network system. Mainly these threats we can divide into 4 categories. First one is disclosure. Disclosure is like gaining unauthorized access to the protected information, and that could lead to leakage of sensitive information, for example, like eavesdropping. In this attack, attackers may capture messages being exchanged between 2 entities, and they could access to their content. Deception is intentionally attempting to mislead other entities, for example, like phishing attack. So malicious entity may send a false or incorrect information to others, leading them to believe that this information is correct. So fake identities may be used in order to increment others or gain illegitimate access. Disruption is an event that interrupt or prevent the correct operation of system services and functions. This will lead to system vulnerabilities such as like physical resource overloading or network flooding, for example, like denial of service attack. Fourth one is attacker may gain unauthorized control over the system. This unauthorized control may allow the attacker to unlawfully access the protected data or any other services. This will lead to vulnerabilities such as like identity fraud, software vulnerability exploitation, something like that. Could you go to the next slide? Here are some countermeasures we could take to avoid or reduce those attacks. Restricting and managing network access is an essential part of the network security. Each user or student only need access to some apps, folders, and files, and they directly use to do their work. Access control allow to identify users and devices, making sure that every user and devices goes through the correct policies and procedures. To do that, we can use something like trusted virtual domain and sandboxes. Virtual LAN are used to identify packet belonging to different network, and it will help to increase the secure communication within networks. Anti-malware is another essential network security, so it can detect and contain any viruses, worms, ransomware, or spyware attempting to hit a university system. Most of the things we store now in cloud, and it's crucial to use cloud security. Also, we want to make sure that our software and hardware defense is stay up to date with the new anti-malware signature or the latest patches. And we could avoid some attack by educating the user also. Could you go to the next slide? Starting from the next slide, this slide, I am going to explain some general security models using the campus network. The role of the security policy is to ensure that each of the four fundamental components, such as like computer security, authentication, access control, and integrity and confidentiality, are adequately addressed. And when we make network security policy, we also need to address like what resources are we trying to protect. Which people do we need to protect the resources from? How likely are the threats, and how important is the resources are? Could you go to the next slide? Firewall provide the hard barrier between our internet trusted network and untrustworthy external network, something like internet. Firewall provide the protection against outside cyber attacks by shielding university computers or network from malicious or unnecessary network traffic. Firewalls can also prevent the malicious software from the accessing a computer or network via the internet. Could you go to the next slide? Email gateway analyze the emails for threat. If the email gateway consider the inspected email as clean, they send them to the user. If they believe that email is spam or containing a threat, they quarantine those on the email gateway itself. Email gateway typically provide the following services like antivirus scanning, anti-spam management, and you can see that path I mentioned in here. That's how it's work. Could you go to the next slide? Web gateway control the students and staff web use, block web-based threats, and deny access to malicious website. So secure web gateway offers protection against online security threat by enforcing university security policies and filtering malicious internet traffic in real time. Could you go to the next slide? Intrusion detection software monitors the network for suspicious or malicious activity by scanning traffic. It could also prevent zero-day attack also. The software flag this activity and send in the results to the admin, then he can take the action against it. And intrusion prevention system blocks any incoming attack before they can be executed. So I am passing to Sakmal.
So as you can see, we have achieved what we told to the viewers in our scope to all the facts that we have described in our scope. The only thing we couldn't achieve is that the administrative layout, network layout. We tried to get that layout, but we couldn't get it. So we couldn't do any comparison with other network architectures using administrative layout. these are the references we used in our project, in our presentations, and thanks for listening.